Good evening. It is Monday, October 23rd at 6:36. I apologize for the delay in starting. We will call the regular city council meeting to order. If we could please start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do we have any additions to the agenda tonight?
Just a couple quick mentions. So when the packets went out, it's posted correctly on the bulletin board, but when the packets went out, I attached the wrong PDF as the agenda. The corrected one is on front of you there. And what it should have been is under the consent agenda. It should have been the October 9th minutes from the meeting as well as the workshop. And then another one under new business was including consider action on the amendment of my employment contract was under there as well. So I apologize for that.
Perfect. Thank you. I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. That will take us to public comments. If there's anyone who would like to discuss anything that is not on the agenda, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll close public comments and move to the consent agenda. Is there anything on the consent agenda that needs to be pulled for further discussion? Hearing none, I'll look for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion.
Second. We have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. That will take us to business item 10, presentation discussion on the Old Creamery engineering report.
So good evening, all. Some good news tonight, I think. We'll cover a few things, but basically we're here to talk about the report. But just to review, this would be a second part of what we discussed on September 11th, the meeting in terms of addressing the resolution to demolition resolution and the actions that were requested. One was securing the building. We addressed that on September 25th. And the second was to deliver an engineering report. But I have to start with a bit of an apology in that this is a draft report. It's a draft, and it was actually delivered into my hands Thursday night, which was not enough time to go over it, discuss it with my with the history partner, Kirk, and sort of flesh out some questions. But the advantage of that is that if you all have questions after tonight, we can bring them in and before we have the final report. And I thought I'd start with a summary. After reading it all, I went back to the engineer who wrote it, and I said, you know, if it was a few sentences, could we hone it down? And this is what he came up with. On first examination, the structure appears sound, but ongoing water intrusion will ultimately cause systemic damage if not addressed via roof repair. The highest priority action is to shore up the cracking beams supporting the metal roof of the lean-to addition. Until roof repair is underway, the condition of the building should be monitored on a regular basis. So as far as the report goes, it was included in the agenda. So I wanted does it make sense to skip through it? I wanted to just draw attention to a couple of points.
Yep. Everyone's read it. Everyone's seen it. So
Okay.
yeah, you can, anything you want to highlight, then we'll have some other discussion.
We could, or we could go straight into the discussion if you feel comfortable with that. There's no sense spending time if you're already on it.
I'm fine going into this straight in discussion. Nick, are you okay with that? Is there anything you need right now?
Not specifically to go
From the
over
report? Okay.
Yeah.
Because we can talk about some of those items in there, I think, but I think I want to start getting into kind of the next steps and the next plans and set some timelines. One, I appreciate you meeting what you were expected to meet and meeting your deadlines, so thank you. So from an overall standpoint, now you have the report. What's kind of now your next thoughts or your next step that you think need to happen and some timelines financial aspects of that and
Right.
some of that, to be perfectly honest with you and upfront, we want to try to set some sort of a legitimate timeline and know the finances are there to know that this project is continuing to move on. We don't want to be here 5 years from now still waiting on some grants and the building still kind of, it's gotten worse and worse. So for me, that's kind of what I'm going to be looking for.
Absolutely. Yes, yes. And I think that I'm afraid that's the way it was more or less when I was solo on the project. But bring together a team, of which I consider the council and city administration to be part of, but especially Kirk at New History, whose business it is to rehab and restore buildings, and now a couple of good engineering partners, and that will be further grown by an architect. Now, the competence is involved, that this will come together as it should, in a fully professional basis. There's different ways to look at it. One is the finances, but the immediate first step from the report is we need to shore up the lean-to. There's cracking beams in the lean-to, and that's like the number one actionable item. Because while according to the report, there really isn't any danger, passersby, sort of danger, property danger with further collapse of the roof in between the joists. If more debris comes down, that's not going to affect things. But if the lean-to comes down, that's potentially being closer to the street. It's an unknown factor, and so that's really what we want to do. Number one is this, and I talked with, in fact, just after the report with Kirk about this, and he said that either he or he would vouch for MBJ. One of the two could come up very quickly with one simple single schematic that would address what needs to be done, that I could then take to a vendor, a shoring contractor, and specs that they could work with in order to do this. So the primary step is going to be to